Hello everyone, here we are again. Today, however, we're doing something new here on something I think you guys will like, at least. This is a bit of an easy video to make, but I wanted to give you something while I'm still writing my take on ANF, which I promised you a while ago in my previous video about Season 2. So here, I'll talk about, well, my top 5 episodes for the whole The Walking Dead game series from all seasons. If you're already a subscriber, I'll ask that you leave a like right now, and if you're not, you can finish the video to decide whether you should give it a like and subscribe to the channel or not. Before we start, the criteria here is that I'll mix overall quality on what I think makes an amazing The Walking Dead episode, and a bit of personal preferences of mine. And stating this, I make clear this is my opinion, and if you disagree, which I feel you guys will at some point, feel welcome to leave a comment telling me your top 5 list. With all that out of the way, let's do it.
The only way you're gonna save your people is to let us take them.
Beginning the list, we have a very symbolical episode. This here was a rising hope for players. Telltale just went broke and abandoned the rest of the story. Thus Skybound assumed the game's production. We were relieved with the news, yes, but we still needed to see the result, if it was going to be good or not, and holy hell it was. This episode is a #1 fan favorite for many players out there, and even though it hits here at number 5, I was still jaw-dropped to see that Skybound had made such a proficient work with what was handled to him. Really man, from start to end, this episode is intense, emotional, action-packed, and filled with character conflict and development. We torture Abel for information. We finally meet Minerva and have the revelation she killed Sophie. We have James having more space to develop and show us more of his Walker philosophy. We have the determinate outcome of Lewis having his tongue cut out, and also one of the hardest choices ever, to let AJ kill Lily or tell him to restrain himself. And James' fate is also determined by this. It is such a great episode and such a hit that Skybound Games accomplished. Just imagine for a second how terrifying it would be if Skybound didn't assume the project and the final season was on hold for I don't know how long. Yeah, right. I don't even like to imagine.
Like how that goes. Put the fucking gun down before you really make me mad.
Now, I've never seen people loathing this episode in particular, but I've also never seen people praising this episode as much as I think it deserves. When analyzing Season 1, people oftenly look at No Time Left and Starve for Help, even Long Road Ahead, but don't favor this episode here. First of all, let's just analyze for a second how much stuff we actually do in this episode. We arrive at Savannah, we find the house, we go to the pier, we go in the sewers, find out that Chuck is dead, find a cancer survivors group, go to Crawford. We have a whole gameplay odyssey there to get the supplies we need. We then have to escape from there and also make a call on whether to let Ben go or not. Also, one of the hardest choices in the series. Kenny is just a mess in this episode, having one of his best character moments in the series. And we have to kill the little boy in the attic and bury him later. Or, well, let Kenny kill it. Omid and Krista are better utilized here as well than in the previous episode. Clementine demonstrates herself as a real hard thing to deal with. She's losing her innocence, and when we have to tell the truth to her that her parents are dead, man, just wow. Also, we meet Molly, who's an awesome character that sadly never made its return to the series. And Vernon as well, who's a traitor scumbag, but anyway, we meet new interesting characters, we have the mystery of Crawford, we have many puzzles and tense moments to live up to, and in the end, we're left with Lee getting bitten and the stranger kidnapping Clementine. I mean, I think I've said enough, haven't I? This episode has so much on itself, and we're never too bored, tired, or confused with it. It just flows so well, and for all those reasons, it is here at number 4. an episode that deserves a lot more of attention. I bet you all will disagree with me on this one. People tend to think this is the best episode of Season 2, yes, but to put it above Broken Toys and Around Every Corner, yeah, let me explain. This episode is a personal favorite of mine. I said in part 2 of my Season 2 video that Season 2 actually is my favorite season, although I don't find it to be the best. There's a little difference between preferring something and find it actually good. Of course, both things can be the same thing at many cases, but not in here. Although Season 2 has its undeniable flaws, I found A House Divided to be an amazing episode nonetheless. I think that in here, we have this season's best character development, especially with Luke, but also with Rebecca, Nick, and Sarah. The atmosphere building, with the characters being chased by Carver, is so desperately intense and can be really summed by the crazy scene where we receive Carver at the cabin. He, the best villain and one of the best characters in this series period, calmly makes his way in the house, showing he's a calm and smart person, not some generic evil villain. The suspense just takes over this scene with you not knowing if he's gonna attack you or not, and you try to maintain the cabin group a secret while Sarah is hiding just under the bed there. It's crazy. This episode has just the right mix of great writing and tone setting, something that the rest of Season 2 didn't quite manage that well, in my opinion at least. Oh, all of that, and I didn't even mention the fact that you find Kenny after all these years. If the player don't get spoilers for this scene, this is also one of the most surprising and memorable moments ever in the series, no doubt. Greatly written, intense, shocking, and memorable, and it gets number 3 for that.
Everybody dies. It's not really up to us anymore.
Again, another episode I'm putting here that I think will be controversial, especially when I already put Broken Toys at number 5. And the vast majority of people consider that episode to be better than Done Running, but I have to highly disagree. Ever since I played this episode for the first time in August 2018, I just knew that TFS was going to be something special. With all the graphic and gameplay improvements, but also with how they introduced the whole story, the Erickson school, the kids and all. Really, man, only in this episode we know more about Tan, Violet, Lewis, and Marlon than we know about most of the characters from A New Frontier combined. The action scene in front of the school with the new combat mechanics is gorgeous. The train station scene is also amazing. It's not as good as the one in episode 3 where we get on the boat, but it is still really good. The confrontation with Abel is quick, but intense and effective to set the story in motion with the further reveal of Sophie and Minerva's whereabouts, which is a huge freaking bomb, and then AJ shooting Marlon just... oh geez, so much stuff going on in this episode. I never get enough from it. I'm just so fond of it, you know? For being the most masterful season premiere for the whole series, it gets on number 2. So here I'll have a few honorable mentions, episodes which I consider to be really good, but didn't make it to the list. Season 1, Episode 3, Long Road Ahead. Season 2, Episode 1, All That Remains. Season 2, Episode 5, No Going Back. Season 4, Episode 4, Take Us Back. And the last honorable mention is Season 1, Episode 5, No Time Left. So here's also another opinion. I bet you people will disagree. People normally consider No Time Left to be the best episode ever. I can totally understand you guys. I agree that Lee's are coming to closer and he asking for Clem to kill him and in his last moments is just amazing and the most praised and memorable moment in the entire series. and actually the most emotional moment in gaming history probably. If this was a top 10 video, I'd put it in number 6 or 7. Don't get me wrong, I really love this episode, and I see why people love it as well. But for me, it didn't make it, guys. Pretty sorry. Please don't kill me. But right now, knowing that Season 1 Episode 5 isn't number 1, I bet you guys can guess which one is here at the top. Yeah guys, it's him, the one and only, Starved for Help. If I said a lot about Dawn running and a house divided, I feel like I won't be able to say enough for this episode here, because man, where even to start with this masterpiece? It is definitely the best structured episode, not only in The Walking Dead, but in Telltale's history. A conflict that starts and ends on a single day. One hell of a day that leaves every single one of our characters harmed somehow. I think that here was the point where our characters were introduced to the absolute worst of what this apocalyptic world could turn people into. It is worthwhile, engaging, mysterious as you try to find out what's really up with the St. John's, and also shocking to find out not only that they're cannibals, but that they chopped off Mark's legs and served us dinner with them. Holy hell. When you're locked in the fridge, you also have to make not only one of the hardest choices ever, but the most morally challenging one in the series by far. To help Kenny smash Larry's head, or trying to revive him with Lily. Yeah, this episode came out 8 years ago, and it is still Telltale's magnum opus. Although all of those aspects, my favorite moment from this episode is at the end, where you have to decide whether to kill Andy St. John or leave with the group. A defining moment for Lee's character, for the whole season 1, and for the whole series as well. Every time I play this episode and get to this scene, I just think to myself, this is Telltale. This is The Walking Dead. And that's why Season 1, Episode 2, Starved for Help, is the best episode ever. With all of that said, here the video ends. Thanks to every one of you. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Check out my Season 2 videos I made a while back. Also, leave a comment on what's your top 5 episodes. And if you want to leave suggestions, feel welcome as well. And I'll see you in the next big one. Peace.
Help me!